Gray. Chapter 1. Revolving Door. There's nothing new under the canopy of the game. The only difference separating one iteration from another is the player cycling in and out like a revolving door, in and out of the same old game. Sometimes it's nice to find companionship in the disorder. It makes it easier to endure the madness. Take these two, for example. The movie has ended. They're sitting through a generated list of previews that they have no interest in watching. The minutes pass like lightning, sitting in silence, side by side. Their minds race, but neither move and neither speak. She lets out a performative yawn, being the first one brave enough to break the silence. Her breath smells like the marshmallows that have settled at the bottom of her mug. She pushes a handful of loose curls out of her face, curls that remind him of his mother's. He's never told her that. He enjoys their weekly pastime, which has become a calming constant in the rapid locomotion of the game. Tonight, it features chocolate-covered strawberries and peppermint hot chocolate with buttery popcorn, the sweet-to-savory ratio they've always agreed upon. And Shannon, of course. Gray admires the way her neck never fails to smell faintly of vanilla, no matter the time of day. He admires her, he realizes. They've been at this experiment for almost a year now, as friends. Just friends, right? They agreed, didn't they? But tonight is different. Charged, shoulders grazing, eyes gazing a little too long. And now they're motionless in the silence for a few minutes that feels more like a dozen, unsure whether to address the elephant in the room or to leave it sitting there staring at them. Using her yawn as an excuse to stretch, he extends his arm behind her. They look at each other for the first time in a half hour and share a tight-lipped smile. Corporate. Nice. Empty. His mind is completely void of all the things he had in mind to tell her a moment ago. One look at her amber eyes breaks his nerve. Instead, he grasps at the very first thing that does appear there, asking, "So, what are you up to this week?" Shannon ponders, turning her head. She consults with a metallic dry erase calendar, hanging before her desk nearby, squinting to read the detailed notes in curvy handwriting. He admires her effortless organization. "Tomorrow I finally start playing for the Golds. I think I'm ready. I've been practicing." Piano. She's being humble. Shannon is a brilliant musician. Another thing Gray admires. "I'll probably be ramping up for the next few weeks or so," she muses. "Right, that's exciting. I know you'll blow their expectations out of the water. You always do," he gushes. "Thanks, Gray." A beat. "I should let you get your beauty rest before the big day." "Yeah." 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 They get up. All of the pent-up romantic tension soiled in the throes of casual routine. The iron grip of monotony wrenches its ugly hand again, squeezing the spark out of what should have been an emotionally heightened confession, tricking the participants into thinking there's always tomorrow to tell the other what's on their mind. Shannon carries their mugs to the sink and fills them with soap and water, while he stuffs his pockets of scattered belongings, preparing to leave. Setting the cups down, she decides she'll scrub them when he goes, since she can't sleep with the knowledge of a dirty sink. Wiping her hands, she watches him in her alcove, putting on his socks, deep in thought. Then his shoes. She notes with admiration the care he takes, the attention to detail, even when he thinks no one is watching. She admires him, she realizes. He senses eyes on him and meets hers with a bashful smile that she returns. He's kind. He knows she doesn't like wearing shoes in the house, so he's stuck on that bench near her entryway. His awareness of her pet peeves and her feelings is appreciated. His kind of thoughtfulness is hard to come by in this ruthless game. Suddenly she's struck with a pang in her chest at the thought of him leaving tonight, with so much left unsaid. Unsure how to broach the subject, but eager to, she finds herself closing the distance in the short hallway between the kitchen and the doorway, slowly at first, then quickening her pace. Suddenly all the stakes are back. Yes, tell him! But inexplicably she feels like crying. What would be lost from their friendship if she said what she was really feeling right now? No holds barred. What would happen to their weekly experiments? If he didn't feel the same, would she be forced to commit to another year or two with another random player with no guarantee of success? Out of nowhere, he startles her out of her mental spiral, shooting into a standing position, feigning panic. Don't ask. It's a game of their own. Because sometimes playing like a child is the only salve for knowing you'll never be one again. His legs appear stagnant, stuck, in quicksand? His lanky limbs flailing over a pained expression make his miming performance ridiculously believable. He should really do something with that. He reaches an arm toward her, his only hope. And she's off, racing in his direction, fighting to match his cartoonishly stoic expression. Arms extended, running to his rescue. Lassoing the air, she jumps toward him, pulling him up by her imaginary rope. Reaching him at last, she grabs him under his arms and pulls as hard as she can, accidentally toppling him over to the ground. It's her involuntary shriek of laughter that breaks their imaginary puissance, a contagious gift that's hard to come by, a personal victory he always seeks to achieve in her presence. And just like that, they're doubled over, gasping for air. They'd miss this if it all ended tomorrow, if it couldn't survive what they wanted to confess. Finally gathering enough breath to stand, she recognizes a question in his eyes that she must be mirroring in her own. The feeling is mutual, but who will be the first to break the ice? They sit on the bench in her entryway, thinking through every possible outcome in silence, working up the confidence to shoot their shot with each passing moment. If their friendship ended tomorrow, it'd be the bow on top of a gift they've loved, the cherry resting at the bottom of a devoured sundae. They could meet other people, but what a shame that would be, all because they couldn't work up the nerve. Pitiful, in fact. Silence, silence, and more silence. It's not like them. Not when they're together. Looks like it's time for me to intervene. Because these two think they know everything. And well, you know what they say about assumptions.